Hey guys, welcome back to the Second Class Parent Podcast. I have Jonathan with me today, and he's going to tell us his story. So, how you doing tonight, Jonathan?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got home from traveling back down from Petoskey, Michigan. I'm back down in South Bend. Took a little nap, and so I'm rested up now. Yeah.
Awesome. So, do you want to just start at the beginning and tell us your story, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I just got down from Petoskey because I ended up going up there. And how that all started was, I have, the holidays, half the summer, all this time with my kids. And I also have like a bi-weekly phone call with them. And this woman has been doing everything she can to like try and like destroy the relationship and the bond between me and my children. There's like a long history of every time we start getting really good on our phone calls and we start having really good bonding moments, she just takes the phone from them and refuses to let me talk to them. Well, this Friday when I call, my daughter didn't even want to talk to me, which is unusual because she's daddy's little princess. She's like,
Right.
"Oh, I don't feel good. I don't want to talk, daddy." But I managed to talk to her for a few minutes anyway. And she starts telling me she's got dance class the next day and was telling me what kind of dance she's doing and where it's at. And I was like, "Oh, well, you want me to come see you dance?" Instantly, her demeanor changed from her being like sad and looking sick to like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait. That'll be great. I want to see you, daddy." Yeah, right. And so I was like, "All right, cool. I'll just drive up there. It's about 5 hours or so, 4.5 hours to get up there." But I said I'd do it. And then her mom gets in the middle of the phone call and takes the phone from me or from her and starts berating me, yelling at me, saying, "I can't afford to go up there. If I go up there, she's going to call the police. It's her parenting time. I can't do these things on her parenting time." All this crap, right? And then I'm like, I don't even want to talk to you right now. I'm supposed to be having parenting time with our kids and just let me talk to our son now, right? Because I have two children with her, our
Right.
daughter and our son. And then she says, "Well, you're going to come up here?" And I said, "Yes." And then she just hung up on me.
Oh
Wouldn't even let
wow.
me talk to my son or our son,
See, I
right?
never, I never understood that with parents when like they get all hung up on my parenting time and stuff like that, especially when it's a situation where you live so far away. Like if you want to come to a dance recital or a dance practice or a softball practice, I mean, how's that hurt her in any way? That's
It
ridiculous.
doesn't. It doesn't. And as a matter of fact, the courts are so used to this, they already have a handbook where it specifically talks about extracurricular activities, how the custodial parent is supposed to tell the non-custodial parent about all of these activities, and they're welcome to come, regardless of whether it's their time or not.
Right.
So there's already a policy in place that I should be there. And
Absolutely.
so then I start packing my bags, get ready to go because it was at 7 o'clock was the phone call. Dance class was at 10:30 the next morning. So I had to drive up there that night. So I started packing my van, got all my sleeping bag, ended up sleeping in the van. While I'm driving up there, maybe an hour, 2 hours into the drive, I get an email from her saying that the dance studio has COVID policies. And that COVID policy says that only one parent can be there, right? And this woman has a long history of lying to me. So I fact check everything she tells me. And so I Googled the Beautiful Feet Dance Studio and their COVID policy. And all it said was, that they are wearing masks and doing increased cleaning for their COVID policy. So that was a big lie. So then I email her back saying, I respect that this is your parenting time. I won't try to talk to our daughter afterwards. I just really want to watch her dance, you know? And
Right.
then she emails me the next morning, on my way there about 7 in the morning that the dance studio is going to charge me with trespassing if I show up. And again, I don't believe that. So I just drive up there anyway. I go up there early. I park my car down the street because I figured there's at least a 30% chance I wasn't going to see my daughter, you
Right.
know, at least a 30% chance. And so I park my car down the street. So maybe she would just bring her in and not even realize I'm there and think that her smoke worked, right? All that smoke she was blowing.
Right.
Well, when I'm in the dance studio, it's actually a gym and dance studio. I got there earlier, checked it out. And then all of a sudden her father comes in, right? And her father starts yelling at me, telling me, well, not really yelling, but talking to me. I don't want him to talk to me. And I say, don't talk to me, Ron. He's saying, you can't be here. You're not welcome here. You need to leave. And then I just asked him nicely. I said, please don't talk to me. And I'm live streaming the whole thing. If you go to my
Right.
Facebook, you can see the whole like hour-long ordeal in a live stream.
Right.
Right. And so he refuses to not talk to me. He starts following me around the gym. I start feeling threatened by him after, all the different things we've heard, like with John Mast and all the fathers that are getting murdered now by these father-in-laws. That's a
Absolutely.
real thing that's going out. And so I'm pretty well scared and in fear for my life. So I called 911, hoping that'll just get him to back off. I end up like calling 911. It turns out she had already called the police. They were already on their way there. And he has me backed in a corner in the gym, dude. And I'm just like stuck in this corner. And he's
Right.
he's bigger than me, probably like 4 or 5 inches taller than me. And so Eventually, the 911 says the police are outside, and then her father Ron goes outside, and I just am in the gym, and I'm starting to have a little anxiety, because this whole situation, I was just cornered. I'm not feeling very good. So I go and I just buy like a 1-day gym membership, and I just start working out, just trying to pass the time until the police officers come to talk to me, right?
Right.
And so I just start lifting weights. And then the deputy or whoever comes in talking to Ron, they go into the dance studio. They talk to the lady at the dance, right? And then they go outside. They never say anything to me. And then I'm lifting weights, and the gym owner comes up to me and wants to talk to me. And I was having a lot of anxiety. So I politely said, I'm not really feeling like talking right now, you
Right.
know? Then he just asked me my name, which I gave him, and then he, looked up my waiver card I'd filled and asked me to fill out the rest of it because I only put in like my name. I didn't fill out the address, so I did that. And I continued working out, and I was going to go buy a Gatorade, because I was starting to break a pretty good sweat. And the gym owner, I finally decided to talk to him a little bit and tell him, he was just chasing me around your gym, had me cornered here in the corner. The gym owner says, that shouldn't have happened. His staff should have intervened. And he told me that I'm welcome in his gym anytime. Right.
Right.
And the police end up actually never even talking to me.
Wow.
Yeah, right. So the mother of my children, Jolene, and her father, they leave with my daughter, and they're out there for probably a good solid 40 minutes talking to the police, right? I looked out the window and I could see them outside with all the deputies, right? And then I'm wondering, why isn't my daughter in dance? And number two, if you're standing out there talking to the police, where are our children at right now? Are they just sitting in a car,
Right.
by themselves now while you're talking to the police, trying to make me up to be some big bad guy that I'm not? And that's all I know really. So they left, Jolene left, and I didn't even get to see my daughter. My daughter didn't even get to go to dance class yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. So
Yeah.
so how did all this animosity and everything between you and your ex actually begin? I mean, stuff doesn't happen in a box, we all know that.
No,
Like,
this has
but
been building for years, like 5 years. This has been building.
right.
you know the real trigger point was when she was running a dispensary down in Gaylord called Cloud 45, and then her partner got raided. She ended up getting arrested and facing charges, and when that happened, her whole demeanor towards me just changed. She started, the first CPS complaint I got was because I had my kids outside, we were fishing, this is back in early 2016, and they got mosquito bites, right? And I got a CPS call for mosquito bites, and she refused to let me see him for the weekend because of mosquito bites. That was the very first one,
Oh wow.
right? And ever since then, it's been no less than 2 CPS complaints a year. We're already at 2 this year, right? 2 CPS complaints this year. As a matter of fact, she's filed so many CPS reports this year. This last one I got, she filed on March 31st. I know she filed it because I didn't know what it was for. But when her
Right.
attorney emailed me about it, he knew what it was for, because all I got was a letter. I didn't even get to talk to CPS. CPS never even came to my house. I got a letter in my mailbox the beginning of April that a complaint was filed on March 21st, that my children were the victims of abuse, and that I was the alleged perpetrator of abuse, right? And I have no clue what it was about until I get an email from her attorney talking about the fact that apparently I have loaded guns all over my house,
Okay.
which I don't have. I don't even own a gun, brother. I
I
don't
mean,
even
even if
own
that
a
was the
gun.
case, if you had loaded guns in your house, how does that constitute abuse? I mean, if they were, are you saying they're unsecured, they're laying where the kids can get them, that kind of
Yeah, they were
thing?
saying,
Or
and the email from the attorney, not from CPS, because I've never even talked to CPS. All I have is a piece of paper that doesn't even tell me the details. But the letter from the attorney says they were working with CPS and saying that CPS confirmed in the email, I can show you the email, that there are guns in my kids' rooms, guns in their closets, guns everywhere. I'm shooting off firearms, and which is just not the case. I
wow,
don't even own a firearm.
that's
We know what
crazy.
are in our house everywhere? Some Nerf guns. There's Nerf
Right.
guns everywhere. My son has like 10 of them. He's been getting Nerf guns every birthday and Christmas for like 5 years. So he's got a nice collection of Nerf, but that's
Well,
it, bro.
well, here's my question. You said that like she routinely makes these complaints to CPS on you, and it's been like
Oh yeah.
going on for
And that was a
5 years.
mild. This last one was a
Uh,
mild one.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
like, have any of the complaints ever like amounted to anything? Like, have you ever been,
No,
okay, so
never has been a Clayton substantiated. Never has a case actually been open. There's only been the preliminary call where they go and see the kids and the parent. That is all there has ever been. I've never once had a case opened.
so
And I've been
so
accused of beating my children and molesting them multiple times.
so that being the case, now CPS, I know there are rules to CPS that after so many false allegations, they're supposed to like turn that person in to like the district attorney's office for, filing false allegations. Has that ever happened to her or
It hasn't happened. No, no. But the last time asked them was probably 2 years ago. After the last time she accused me of molesting my children, I was like, "How many times is she going to cry wolf before you do something about this?"
right?
When are you going to charge her for freaking filing false complaints? And they said, "Oh, well, unless you can get like a confession out of her, it's really something that's hard to prove." And I'm like, dumbfounded,
Right.
absolutely dumbfounded that she can just shoot all these silver bullets all day long. I've deflected every single one of them, but there's no recourse for her. And this is part of why we're where we are today, is because she has been enabled this way to get constantly worse. In
Right.
her
And it,
most recent,
and that
she's now
happens all the
accused.
time.
Yeah,
The
it does.
system
It
is
does.
set up that way. And here's a question for you. Have you talked to an attorney at all, maybe about filing like a civil claim against her for this, like
I
harassment or
could
anything
do
like that?
that. I could do that, right? But I'm constantly in court dealing with her harassment.
Right.
So I had court on April 1st this month, April 13th this month. I got it on May 5th, dude. And it's a constant thing where they're just trying to break me down and wear me down because the court is 5 hours north of me, 4.5 hours north. So for me
Right.
to do that, that's a day of work,
Right.
10 hours travel, all of this freaking thing just so I can be a good father, just so I can do, and that's the only thing I've ever tried to do is just be in my children's life and be an active father and be there for them, you know? And it's just constant harassment. And
Right.
her lies have escalated so much that I got a court order for them to have a cell phone that I provide that I get to call them on, and they get to call me whenever they want, but I get to call them minimum bi-weekly Tuesdays and Fridays. She's refusing to give them that cell phone. I mailed her the first cell phone. She gave it to her attorney. She said her attorney lost it. I mailed her a second one. She said it never showed up. The third one I just gave to my children while they were with me on one of my weekends, and they took it back with them, and she just took it from them, right? Would refuse to give it to him. And then this last time we were in court on April 1st, her attorney hands me a package, one with the cell phone he allegedly lost, and two with the FedEx box with the cell phone and presents for me that they never even opened, bro. Never even opened. I have that box sitting in the other room still, you know? And then her reasoning for not giving the kids the phone is that she's now claiming that I am hacking into FBI databases and I'm using these phones as surveillance devices.
God. And now, have you brought this stuff up to the judge in court that these are the things that are going on and
I've been
this is
trying
what
to
you're
bring it up
saying?
like in court verbally, because I'm not good with paperwork. I'm not good at writing this stuff down because of how emotional it is. And when I try to do it in court, I just get run over on my own. And then I've literally gotten screwed by a couple of attorneys. Like this current attorney I just had, this Jennifer M. Payne, just royally screwed me bad because that hearing in April 1st was actually supposed to be like March 18th, right? And she told me it's going to be by Zoom. I've got the text messages here where she even sent me the judge's Zoom info, right? And then all of a sudden, like a couple hours before this hearing, it was supposed to be contempt of court against her for not following the court order. She tells me, "Oh, they didn't want to let us do by Zoom. We've got to go up there." And I'm like, "Well, crap." So I was getting ready to drive up there, drop everything, haul ass to Northern Michigan to do it. But then she tells me she can't even be there because she's in Detroit. And so the hearing that was supposed to be on March 18th got adjourned to April 1st. And guess what April 1st was? Right in the middle of my spring break parenting time. So I had to give up an entire day of
Oh
my
wow.
very limited parenting time with my children to go up there for court. And then guess what this Jennifer bitch did? She
What?
decided to file a motion to withdraw from my case. So we didn't even do anything at that hearing. I just drove up there for freaking nothing, bro, to get screwed by another fucking blood sucking attorney.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. I mean, I don't even know what to say in that situation because I hear the same stories over and over again from different dads about these attorneys. And excuse me, I personally, I won custody of my son pro se, but I actually sat down and, taught myself basically, the family court law and, documented everything myself and did it all myself. A lot of people can't do that. I mean, I understand that. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel
Very
for you, brother.
difficult to do your own paperwork. When I'm trying to write down all these things, it's very emotional, man. It's really hard for me to just keep my pen on the paper.
No, I can
Mhm.
understand that. I can understand that. So, um, where are we going to go from here? Do you think? What's your next move?
Well, my next move is I did in all of this ordeal. Um, I do have a custody evaluation pending. That's going to be on July 1st. So they're going to interview the kids and me on July 1st. I don't know when they're going to do it with their mother. So that's pending. So that's a really big deal. I have an evidentiary hearing trying to hold her in contempt of court pending. And I really need to file a motion to change custody and parenting time to go along with this evidentiary hearing and this this custody evaluation. So I really need to get this done. I've been reaching out trying to find people that can help me because the attorneys have only screwed me. And I guess the
Right.
only option really is for me to do it myself or to get some assistance from some other fathers who can just walk me through this process, be there
Right.
with me to keep writing. Because if I'm there alone, man, I write a couple words and then I'm done. You know,
Right.
I'm
And
done.
where are you at? What state what state is the court in, or where you're?
The state's in Michigan, in Petoskey, Michigan is where the court's at.
Okay.
You know,
Well, guys, anybody watching this that's a dad who's in Michigan in that area that knows the system, I mean, reach out to Jonathan, please. Like, give my man a hand. I mean, I would do it. I'm in Tennessee, so our laws are different and paperwork's different and stuff like that. So, I'm not real sure what he needs, but if you guys know what he needs and you can help him, that would be a godsend if somebody would reach out to him.
yes, it would. Yeah, you can get me on Facebook. My name is Jonathan Deak, JONATHANDEAK. My phone number is 231-330-6825. Or you can email me at Jonathan, JONATHAN, at legendarysystems.io, LEGENDARYSYSTEMS.io.
Awesome. So, you guys like how did you guys end up living 5 hours apart, just out of curiosity?
Oh, well, I was up there and then I was working for an IT firm. And then January or February 7th, I got fired for starting a union of 2019 because they were working me like 60 hours a week. I wasn't making any overtime. They weren't letting us work from home. It was turning into hell. So I started trying to organize the guys there about trying to get a union going to try to change some of their policies. Management gets a hold of that information and then fires me.
Yeah,
And
it's
then Petoskey's a
typical.
small town, right? I had a freaking non-compete, non-disclosure agreement with them. And so I moved to Indiana, which is as close as I could be without, being in violation of my contract. And so I'm like literally just south of the border in Indiana so that I can work.
Okay. Makes sense. Um Now, in your time when you and your ex were together, did you guys ever have a time where you guys could co-parent, like, in any kind of constructive manner, or has it always been like a high conflict situation?
Relationship wasn't healthy. It wasn't a good relationship. As a matter of fact, she got pregnant early on in the relationship. I didn't want to be with her once I got to know her and learn her habits was that she wasn't a good person. And that's when the abuse started. That's when she beat me the first time. That's even really hard for me to say now. We were driving downtown Petoskey and I was telling her, this relationship isn't working for me. I really just want to break up and go back home, right? And then she starts punching me in her car and refuses to let me out to it as she's driving. So right there in front of the grocery store, she's slowing down for a stoplight. And as soon as she gets slow enough, I open the door and jump out, bro. And
Wow.
this is like, in November, it's already snowing, and I'm like 5 hours north of anybody I know because I was up there with her. And I'm calling my friends trying to figure out how I can get back downstate and see some help. And while I'm doing that, I'm running from her in the parking lot. She's like whipped her car off the road, was following me through the gas station into the grocery store. And she's telling me if I don't get in her car, I'm gonna freeze to death and die. And I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody to help me. And I was literally stuck in Petoskey. And the worst mistake I ever made was getting back in her car, dude. We went back to her house, dude. I just like sat in our bedroom for like the next 2 years.
Wow. See, now, I understand you said it's hard to even talk about that. And believe me, I get it. There's a stigma and everything like that. But I got to tell you, stories like that, it's really important for dads like you to speak out on things like being abused, because in our society, anytime you see any, TV ad, any billboard ad, anything about domestic violence, it's always the man. And they've done studies recently that 70% of domestic violence is perpetrated by the female on the male. And still in society, the male is deemed the aggressor. And that's
Yeah,
something that's got to change,
it
so
really does.
it's really important to hear these stories. I mean, you brought up John Mast. I mean, this is a man who
Hmm.
all he wanted to do is be in his children's lives, and they murdered him for it. You know what
Absolutely,
I
they
mean?
did.
So, I mean, I don't think any less of you. I mean, I know, like I said, I know there's a stigma to it, but the truth is,
I didn't know what to do.
right,
I was embarrassed. I was ashamed, dude. I was broken when that happened. And
right,
that was just the first piece of abuse that happened. There was more stuff that happened later on throughout the relationship. And then
right,
she got pregnant, or she was pregnant. Then I was just trying to make it work for the kids, just trying to like figure out how to like see if we can fix our relationship, find a way to be together for our children. And it just wasn't possible. Just
right,
wasn't possible.
right. Well, I got to tell
And
you,
so
I respect the hell out of the fact that you're willing to share your story. I just spoke to another dad who, I mean, his ex-wife stabbed him twice. You know what I mean? And these aren't the stories that you hear. You know what I mean? Because guys don't want to say they were abused. You know what I mean? And that's just it's years and years of stereotypical, nonsense, and it's not okay.
yeah.
It's you know?
No, it's not. I watched some YouTube videos where they did a social study on this, where they showed a man slapping around a woman downtown. That was just a complete act. They were putting it on just to see what the crowd would do. As soon as the man was beating the woman, all these people wanted to intervene and stop the guy and lecture the guy.
Right.
But when the woman was attacking the man, people were laughing, and some people even joined in to start beating up on the guy. It was
Right.
a complete opposite reaction. They turned into a mob for the woman. And that's part of the problem in our society and culture right now, as a woman can shoot a silver bullet, say all these things, beat up on a guy, and just get all these other people just to jump in. And that
Absolutely.
kind of power is detrimental to these women's well-being. Because John Mast, they think that woman told so many lies, escalated that situation so far that now her father, someone who she loves, is now incarcerated, most likely for the rest of his life because of her
Absolutely.
bad behavior. Dude. And it's
Right.
destroyed her. It's destroyed her children's lives. None of them are going to ever be the same because we literally enabled this as a society.
And what's crazy is this man was exonerated. And
He was completely exonerated.
he not only was completely exonerated, he was in front of one of the most the most respected behavioral specialists in the country on sexual abuse, and passed everything that this guy asked him with flying colors. He took multiple lie detector tests, passed with flying colors. The wife was caught in multiple lies in court. I still see people on social media calling this man a child molester. Like,
Yeah.
what in the world?
That's
Like,
that's the problem. People tell these lies, and they build this fictitious reality around them, and then people are willing to just believe a woman blindly without doing any research for themselves.
right. And I'm sorry, but that kind of thing, upsets me because you not only destroy this poor man's reputation who's dead, but his children have to listen to this crap. They see this, like nobody takes that stuff into consideration. You know what I mean? It's all
Yeah,
about, the woman said it, so it must be true. And that's gotta change. I mean, yeah,
it has to change. And you know what? The woman right now is accomplice to murder because she was ordered to bring the kids there. She was supposed to be there with them. The fact that she didn't show up with the kids means she knew what was going on. She knew her father was going there to kill him.
it wasn't even that she didn't show up to the meeting. You know what I actually read on this? The father showed up to the visitation thing in her car. She
Hmm.
showed up after he shot her in her mother's car.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that doesn't add up. Like, she was the one to talk to John. She was the one that set up the place for the meeting, and then dad shows up in your car and kills him. Come on. Come on, man.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah, no, she needs to go to jail for being accomplice. She's just as guilty. She is just as guilty. And those children need to go to John Mass's family.
and sadly, in this society, in the way things work, she will probably keep the kids. Her dad will sit in jail forever, and the man's dead. Like, because
Hmm.
our society is screwed up that way right now. Like,
Children most likely will end up in jail with her father.
at some point, which sucks,
Hmm.
but like it's
It's
proven
terrible.
the
But
statistics.
statistically,
Statistically, that's what will probably happen, or on drugs, or
she did her own children. She just turned her own children into convicts.
right, either convicts or drug addicts, or kids that commit suicide. I mean, they're all the statistics. They're the things that happen behind this kind of nonsense that goes on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Yeah,
good.
I'm seriously thinking about buying body armor now after the fact that that my father-in-law followed me around. And was stalking me in the gym and refusing to let it go. And the situation keeps escalating. I think the next time I go to see my kids, I'm gonna have to wear body armor, dude, because I just don't want to end up dead. Because he owns a gun. He's already stalked me. The police didn't do anything about it. When I report to 911, the deputies in that town didn't even talk to me. So I know that there's no protection for me in that manner. And so, I mean, what's left for them to do?
Right.
You know, like there's two things that are highly probable right now. They're either going to shoot me or they're going to kill our children.
Right. Well, I will tell you this. I don't know if he's threatened you in that manner, but anything like that, particularly after this stuff that just went down with John, I would take it seriously. And I don't blame you. I mean, I would have, web cameras, like maybe a
I did. I was
GoPro
running
with,
two cameras during that. I was running two different cameras. One was streaming live. One was recording to hard copy while this was going down. The whole thing. I've been recording because I've been going through this for so long. There's been so many lies, so many false allegations, and so much enablement from the local small town government that I record and stream everything.
well, that's smart. And I would suggest documenting everything, putting all your ducks in a row. And like you said, reach out to other dads that's going through it, get your stuff in order and figure out how to fight for this. I mean, if you can't depend on a lawyer, like I hate to say it, but a lot of the success stories that I see are guys
Mhm.
like me who just said, you know what, I got to do this myself because nobody else is going to. You know what I mean?
That's really it. That's exactly it. And that's where I'm at right now. I reached out to some other fathers today. I've got one that's in Michigan. So maybe he's going to be able to help me out. I was talking to him just a little bit before you called me up. So maybe I got some help here. We're going to figure out how to make all this happen and get this paperwork written.
Yeah.
Just get that moving. And that's a big deal that, Thursday, Thursday that they call me and to schedule like, a psychological evaluation with the children and myself, which is a big deal. It's a huge, huge
Right.
deal. It's going to be really great because I've given her and her attorney 3 of my independent psychological evaluations because she wants to say I have PTSD, I'm a narcissist, all these things that she wants to say that I am. But I've given her my evaluations, and my evaluations say I have situational depression and adjustment disorder because I'm going through this change that sucks and I don't like it. And then she didn't want to believe my doctors. 3 different doctors, 3 different reports, all saying the same thing, and she just didn't want to believe it. So then she took me to court to get another 4 psychological evaluation with the doctor she picks, and it backfired on her to where now we're getting a full-blown custody evaluation.
Awesome. And I mean, I know it's not really awesome because I mean, the whole situation sucks. But I mean, honestly, the only thing that can come out of it is if you pass this evaluation, the judges at some point, you would think that the judge is going
Has
to
to
have to
change.
take notice. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I feel like with what happened the day after that evaluation got scheduled. Mine's on July 1st, and the fact that the very next day, that thing where I don't even get to talk to my son again on the phone, she cannot be around our children and promote a healthy relationship between them and myself.
Right.
That I feel like we're headed towards like she's going to be lucky to have supervised visitation
Well, I
because of how
mean,
toxic it is.
and I pray that that's what happens. I mean, parental alienation is a real thing. I mean, and it
Mhm.
happens every day. 99% of the
Michigan,
time, it's against dads.
Yeah, Michigan doesn't call it parental alienation, but they do have child protective services in their handbook. Call it it's like level 2 child abuse, and it's anything that a parent does to cause loss of attachment to the other parent. So they
Right.
consider it loss of attachment,
Yeah.
and it is considered child abuse in the state of Michigan.
It's absolutely child abuse. I don't care if it's if they call it that or if they even acknowledge it, but when you break the bond between a child and their parent and it's for no good
Mhm,
reason, that's child
mhm.
abuse. I mean, all the
It is.
statistics show that a parent is important to a child, like both parents. Like to have both parents involved in their lives makes the outcome for the child so much greater than any situation where the child only has one parent. And that's a studies that have been proven. I mean, the only people that don't recognize that are the family courts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and the family courts unfortunately profit off of the tears of our children.
They
The more our
absolutely do.
children cry, the better off our court system is. the better the freaking attorney, more money the attorneys make, the more money, Title IV money that comes through, all this stuff.
Right.
The more the children cry, the more yachts they get to buy.
And that's the thing. And so many people have no idea. You have no idea how many dads have no idea what Title 4D is. All right. And for those of you that are watching this that don't know what Title 4D is, it's a provision in the Social Security Administration where states get paid 66 cents on the dollar for every dollar of child support that they collect. All right. So I've actually seen judges' orders in places like Texas where it says to the family court judge that their first directive is to maximize Title 4D funding, which basically means to get the most child support out of one of the parents, usually
And how
dad.
do you do that? By
How do you do
limiting
that?
overnight.
Right. Child support is based off of how many overnight visitations you have. So if you're going to maximize it, you end up giving dad every other weekend, maybe one day during the week, because that maximizes the amount of child support you can charge him, which maximizes the amount of dollars that go to the state to do whatever the hell they want with it. That is not putting the best interest of the child first. That's putting the best interest of the state first.
Yeah, that's the profiteering off of the tears of our children. That's
Right.
exactly what that is.
It's child trafficking. They do the same thing with Title 4D money and CPS. Like, I don't know if you're aware of that, but CPS gets like $4,000 to $8,000 depending on how many children they place in foster care, which is to take them away from their biological parents and place them with strangers. That's not the best interest of the child. It's the best interest of the state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
It's terrible.
this whole 4D thing like drives me nuts. It makes me crazy.
Well, it's something we have to change. What we have to do is this, we need to start reaching out to our representatives and start calling them regularly. I have this thing I've been starting called Teleconference Tuesday, where I take people and I conference them in and I help them call the representative for the first time. I look up who the rep is, look up their phone number, and I prep them for the call. I even introduce myself saying, hey, we've got a first time caller here. They really want to address you, a little bit nervous here and here they are. They want to talk to you. And I just bridge that gap and give them the warm transfer to the rep so they can get that ice broken so they can start literally parenting their government, because everybody gets together every 2 years, every 4 years. We all make a baby government, right? And this baby government's just running around doing its own thing without any parenting. Nobody's raising their government. So what do we have to do to fix our government? We need to appropriately parent it. We need to call them up regularly and give them good feedback and negative feedback. Tell your reps something you like that's going on, if you can find something, and then tell them something you don't like, and just talk to them all the time about how we can have a better government that'll build a better society and start adequately parenting our government.
That's awesome. And I got to applaud you for doing that, because I wouldn't even thought of, trying to get people, in the way that you are, to contact the representatives. I might say call your representative, but I never would have thought to actually assist them in doing it. That's a great idea. I might start doing that myself.
Great. Absolutely. Oh, that's great. Because people are nervous about it and they have a hard time doing it on their own. They need help getting past that initial barrier. They need that initial icebreaker. That's why Tuesdays, man, Teleconference Tuesday, we're calling your reps, local, state, federal, just call them all. And so
that's great. I mean, honestly, I think that we as fathers, and I see a lot of changes right now with the fathers' rights movement. I have seen states that are starting to move towards 50-50 and things like that. But I really do think that, like any civil rights movement, and that's what this is, it is a civil rights movement, that there needs to be, protests. I'm waiting for the Million Dad March on Washington. You know what I mean? To where
no, it's brewing right now, and COVID is just holding it back.
Yeah,
and actually, COVID's causing a lot of it because so many women have tried to keep their kids over COVID, and COVID's causing this huge backlog in the family court that it is brewing hard right now. There is a big movement brewing, a lot of steam, a lot of pressures building, and this shit's going to explode.
Absolutely. And honest to God, I talk to so many dads that are so passionate about fathers' rights and the things that have gone on for them. Like, I think it's like the first time in history where this many dads have actually banded together and started, trying to do something to straighten out the system. and it's been a long time coming, and I can't wait to see what happens with it because it's going
Yeah,
to be
me too.
huge.
Yeah. 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 Right. You're right, brother. You're totally right.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
in 50 years, we went from father knows best to who the hell needs a father. Like, it's
Yeah. And then we look at, and I'm not sexist or anything, but look at what happens when some of these emotional people, these emotional parents are given control and all this power, and look what they do with how they lead their family.
right. Well, it's nothing to do with sexism. It's to do with like reality, and the reality of the situation is if we're both supposed to be equal in every facet of life, whether it's working a job or dealing with neighbors or playing in
Then
sports.
why are fathers on the same level as moms
Right,
for children?
exactly.
Why are we
Exactly.
second class parents? Why are we second class parents?
Exactly. And that's exactly the thing. And like you hear women talk about it all the time. They will lose their marbles over a 3 percentage point difference in salary in the workforce, but the
And
same
that's
exact
a lie.
person.
That's a lie.
Well,
Because that 3% comes from a lot of jobs, like people that live on oil drills and different things like that. Jobs
right,
where people die a lot, and that women just aren't taking those jobs. Not that they couldn't, they just don't, and those jobs pay more because you're more likely to die.
right. And the thing is, though, is they'll freak out about that. But when it comes to family court, and they have an advantage over men, you don't never hear a feminist lose their marbles about how unfair family court is. Like, do you know what I mean? They don't care about being equal there because they're superior.
Well, generally, I have some friends that are feminists that are good feminists that really get it. But the problem is there's these feminazis that are just using feminism as a way to try to subjugate men, right?
Right.
There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with equal rights for both sexes. As a matter of fact, we really have equal rights for
Right.
both sexes, right? What we have now is a movement for superior rights.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. It's sucks, dude. It just sucks.
Well,
So,
hopefully times are changing. You know what I mean? I really believe in this movement, and I don't think when you have that many dads come together, I don't think it's something that they're going to be able to ignore because there's strength in numbers. You know what I mean? If we start
yeah.
voting guys out of office because they're not doing what we need them to do, it's the same thing as what happened, back in the day with other movements.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Actually, I wanted to host an event out here. It'd be nice to get one organized, get a little Father's Right just event where we all come, have some speakers, have some workshops, have like some father-child bonding things that we can do, like activities, and just have like this big family festival where a bunch of us can get together and just talk about this stuff and share stories and ideas and
Yeah,
and enjoy some music and some food.
that's an awesome idea. I'd be down for something like that.
Right on. Right on.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Tennessee's a great place too. I was just there recently.
yeah,
I live in South Bend, Indiana. I'm here for another couple months at this place, and I got a little 20-acre farm. I'd be more than happy to host an event on the property.
right. And I'm kind of in the same situation. I'm in Tennessee, southwestern Tennessee, and I have a 30-acre property. So
Perfect.
you know what I mean? Same
That's a
type of
great
deal.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we gotta, what we have to do is put some heads together, find some speakers, find some music, set a date, and then just put the word out. And just, if
Right.
we build it, they will come, dude.
Exactly. That's
And
a
try to
great
get partners
idea.
from all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great
Yeah.
idea. I mean, don't be a stranger. I'll definitely talk to you about it and see what we can get done. You know?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yeah.
is there anything else that you'd like to talk about as far as your situation or anything you want, other dads to know that could be helpful in their
Well, yeah.
situation?
Let me go grab my paper quick. I'm just going to show you how much paperwork I've got over 5 years. I'll be right back.
Okay. Excuse me.
All right. So this crate right here is 5 years of family court looks like.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Tell you what. And so what I would say is that my case didn't have to be half that had I had more guidance early on. One of the best things that we can do is to network with other fathers that have been through this, that have gone through it, get support. Anytime anything happens to you, instead of reacting, talk to someone that's been there, get some feedback. There's a program now called Fathers on Fire that's being built. They talk about this thing, your man in the tower, your support people, your support network. And they
Right.
really help you with the right actions, how to react appropriately, and how to really freaking be very efficient with this and how to put the pen on the paper. Hopefully this is going to help me too. I've been reaching out trying to find this for a while. I just talked to this guy, Eric, I guess the angry dad guy that just was on Facebook not that long ago,
Yeah.
and had a good program. And so I don't know. It's a lot of things I can say, but I also say this, dude, like from a lot of fathers I've talked to that end up going through this thing, it's really hard to deal with. And they end up like turning to drugs and alcohol and they lose everything. And that's just not what you want to let happen. You want to take that negative energy. When that negative energy comes in at you, you don't want to go to the bottle. What you want to do is you want to get on Facebook. You want to find a father's rights group. You want to start reading other stories and start posting what you've got going on. Just talk to other dads. You want to reach out and just stay out of the drugs, stay out of the alcohol, and just look for support, because if you don't do that, you're going to be living out of your truck in 2 years and you won't have a family left.
Exactly. Well, I definitely enjoyed having the conversation with you. I appreciate you coming on to tell your story. And hopefully we can get something done. I mean, I would love to do something like that. That would be, that would be an awesome thing, like maybe like an annual, dad's festival or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want it to be. Is like I want it to be like a weekend thing, Friday, Saturday, Sunday festival. We can start out small, just do a day at first, have some speakers come
Right.
out for a day, offer camping for the people that want to stay overnight. And then if
Right.
it's a good turnout, do it bigger the next year and bigger the next year until we have like a 3-day family fun fest, really.
Yeah, that would be
You
awesome.
know? So, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, and are you familiar with Dad Talk Today, that podcast?
I am actually, and I was supposed to be on there because when I was supposed to be on there, it was just before the George Floyd thing went down, and I had just been denied my parenting time for that weekend in violation of the parental kidnapping statute for the entire weekend. So it was effectively parental kidnapping, and there's recordings. I live streamed the whole thing where I am talking to the local police, and I'm talking to the lieutenants and the undersheriff and the sheriff and the state police and the FBI. I can't get anybody to like try and enforce this court order, right?
Right.
And I was like a model parent for what you actually need to do. I wasn't like losing my shit. I wasn't cussing at him. I wasn't acting irate. I was just like, look, this is my court order. This is how it's being broken. This is what you're supposed to do. Please enforce the law. And I'm just being denied from all of our public officials.
Right.
All these people that are sworn for equal protection, equal liability to serve us, to serve the public, are just considering fathers garbage and just not doing a damn thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And then
that's
I never did get on Dad Talk Today because George Floyd happened. He said he had to cover that instead, Eric. So, and I've messaged him a few times since then, but for some reason he hasn't had me on there. And
okay.
I mean, I'm pretty legit with what I do. I live stream everything. I'm pretty calm, cool, and collected. I've got a lot of great information. I'm surprised he won't put my story out.
I mean, as somebody that does a father's rights podcast, I will tell you it can be incredibly overwhelming. Like, I put up a post, on Facebook for looking for dads that want to tell their stories, and I got to tell you, like overnight, it was like 90 different dads that posted, and
Right.
I want to get to
I know.
each and
That's
every
why I
one of
hammered
them.
you to get my story out there because I really want to be
Right.
an example for other fathers. I really want to show fathers what's going down
Right.
because this story, the more we tell it, the more it gets out there, the more we show that how things can happen, the better, right? Like my
Absolutely.
story sucked. I'm going through a lot of hard crap, but I stood in the face of fire, stood up to the allegate, the lies of a COVID-19 policy, the lies of being arrested for trespassing, drove up there to see my kids anyway, dude. And all that did is letting this woman fall on her own sword. As much as that hurt me, as much time as I didn't get to do other things with, 10 hours of travel, an hour at the gym, didn't even get to see my daughter. All of these things in the long run are going to be good for my children because it's just going to show that she's fallen on her own sword. She's not willing to be a good parent. She's not willing to co-parent to the point that she's willing to damage our children to keep them from having contact with me.
Right. And that's what you got to do. And I applaud you for doing it. But the reason why I brought up Dad Talk today is because other than my podcast, there are two other fathers' rights podcasts that I think are really great podcasts that people should watch. But one of them is Dad Talk Today, and that's actually where I learned about the
Mhm.
John Mast story. I learned on watching
Yeah,
that.
me too. Actually, it's a good podcast. Like, I'm just disappointed I haven't been on there yet. Like, I
Yeah.
enjoy what he does and all the work he's putting in, but I really want him to honor his word and have me on there, like he
Well,
said.
I mean, hey, keep hanging in there, and like I said, I try to get to everybody, and it's overwhelming. So it may just be he hasn't gotten to you yet. And then there's another guy who is a pretty good friend of mine and kind of a mentor. His name's Alan Donovan. He has a show on
Mhm.
Instagram called The Father's Truth. Such a good podcast. So if
Love
you
Father's Truth, right on.
yeah, it's called The Father's Truth. If you get a chance, you should check it out. He has some amazing guests on there, amazing stories, and he
Yeah,
even will give tips and stuff like that on some of his stuff, which is really
yeah.
cool. So
Connect me to him. I have to get on there. As many podcasts. This will be the second podcast I did today. I really want this story out there as much as possible.
okay, I'll next time I'm talking to Alan, I'll definitely mention it to him.
What's his name?
Alan Donovan. You
Alan
could
Donovan. Okay,
look
you
him
know,
up on.
not Father's Truth, but I'm helping another guy. I helped him get his website going. He's out of Canada, but he's a Father's Truth.
Oh yeah, I know
Rich
that
Moss.
podcast as well. Yeah, it's a nice
Yeah, yeah.
podcast too.
Yeah, I'm the one that I helped him get his website going and stuff because it was down and all that. I helped him get all that stuff going again.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but like I said, those other two that I just mentioned, Dad Talk Today and The Father's Truth. He's actually Alan started Father's Lives Matter Network, which is a bunch of different podcasters and stuff all over the world um that
That's
do
great.
fathers' rights. So yeah, check them two out as well. Um I really appreciate you being on. And like I said, keep in touch. You have me on, I think we're friends on Facebook now.
Yeah. Sure.
Um,
Yep.
so, keep me in the loop on what's going on, and we'll try to figure out something to get something done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't be hard to organize an event. I've got a lot of experience from that when I was a kid throwing parties. I've been a promoter
Oh,
before. So that part's
that's
easy
cool.
to handle.
Right.
Yeah. I've got a lot of resources too. And I've got like, whole PA set up and stuff like that. So I can handle maybe 5,000 people,
Oh, that's cool.
with it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Jonathan. Well, I think that we probably touched on most stuff that we want to touch on. So I'm going to end the interview now. And like I said, message me, email me if anything changes in your situation, if anything like that. And or if you just need somebody to listen to you bitch, you know what I mean? I'm always available. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, Sean. I really appreciate you having me on here tonight.
I appreciate you being here. And
No
with
problem.
that, I guess we'll end it. And thanks for coming on, and everybody that's watching, thanks for watching and listening. And as soon as I get the podcast uploaded, I'll send you a link.
Right on. Great.
Awesome.
Great. Yeah, it'll help spread it all over the internet. We really need to make this stuff go viral. Uh,
Absolutely. I try to tell people all the time, like you come on, you want to talk and everything like that, and it's great. It only helps if other people watch it or other people listen to it. You know what I mean? So the more people that subscribe, the more people that follow you on Instagram, the bigger the momentum goes and the bigger the movement gets. So that's pretty much how it works.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, brother. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Peace, bro.
Peace.